Okay, so you know how pretty much every job interview you go to, you get asked the same question.
Yep.
Like, what are your strengths and weaknesses?
Uh-huh.
It seems like a simple question,
Right?
right?
It does, yeah.
But I was watching this YouTube video by this interview coach, Diksha Arora,
Okay.
and it seems like most people answer this question the wrong way.
It's true. It's one of those questions that you know it's coming.
Right.
You think you're prepared for it, but there's so much more to it than just kind of having a rote answer.
Yeah.
So in this deep dive, what we want to do is help you understand like the why behind this question and give you some strategies to not just answer it, but totally nail it.
All right, so let's start with the why.
Yeah.
Why do interviewers ask this question?
So Diksha actually lays out a couple of reasons why this question is so popular.
Okay.
The first one is they're trying to gauge your self-awareness.
Okay.
They want to know, do you really know what you're good at and where you need to improve?
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. And the second reason is they want to see how you approach growth. Have you taken time to reflect on your weaknesses? And most importantly, have you taken steps to get better in those areas?
Right.
And they're not just looking for like a vague answer.
Yeah.
They want real examples, especially from your work life.
So it's not enough to just be aware of it.
No.
You have to actually be taking steps to work on it.
Right.
Okay, so that makes sense. But how does that tie back to the actual job?
Well, that's the third reason they ask this question.
Okay.
They want to see if your strengths actually match up with what they're looking for.
Oh, so it's about alignment.
Exactly. You wouldn't want to go on and on about a skill that they don't even need for the job.
Right. Or say that your weakness is something that's actually crucial for the role.
That would be a big mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this actually leads into Diksha's most important tip.
Okay, what's that?
You have to read the job description carefully,
Yeah.
like really carefully.
I feel like I do that already.
Yeah, but it's not just about skimming it.
Yeah.
It's about really understanding what they need in this role. What are the responsibilities? What skills are essential? What qualities are they looking for?
Oh, so I can't just use the same answer every time.
No. Each answer needs to be tailored to the specific job you're applying for.
So give me an example.
Okay, so let's say the job description is all about creativity and coming up with new ideas.
Right.
It wouldn't make sense to say that your biggest weakness is a lack of creativity.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Or if the job requires a lot of public speaking.
Like presentations and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to say that you're terrified of public speaking.
Okay, so step one is reading that job description like it's the most important document you've ever seen.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so now we're on to strengths.
Right.
So what kind of strengths should I be thinking about putting on my list?
Well, there's some general strengths that are good to have in any job.
Okay, like what?
Diksha talks about things like flexibility, being able to adapt to change, being a team player, showing motivation and commitment, and being a fast learner.
Okay, those all sound good, but if I just say I'm a fast learner, is that enough?
No, not really. You need to give specific examples to back up your claim.
Okay, so how do I do that?
So Diksha gives different examples for people with different levels of experience.
Okay.
So for someone who's been working for a while, you say something like,
Okay.
my greatest strength is my flexibility in handling change in my previous role as a customer service manager. We had a big organizational restructuring.
Uh-huh.
But I was able to adapt quickly to the new processes and help my team through the transition.
Right.
This not only kept morale up, but it also led to a 15% improvement in customer satisfaction scores within the next quarter.
Okay, so there are a couple of things I like about that answer.
Yeah.
It's not just saying I'm flexible, it's giving a concrete example.
Right, a real situation.
And you even put a number on the outcome, which makes it so much more believable.
Exactly. Quantifying your results always makes a bigger impact.
Okay, so what about someone who's fresh out of school?
For a fresher, Diksha suggests something like this. My greatest strength is my strong work ethic throughout my academic career and internships. I've always met deadlines and delivered high-quality work.
Okay.
For example, in my final year project, I finished the research and writing ahead of schedule, and I also got the highest grade in the class. My professor even praised my dedication and thoroughness.
Okay, so even if you don't have years of work experience, you can still show your strengths.
Exactly. You just need to find examples from your school or internships or even volunteer work.
And again, mentioning that positive feedback from a teacher that adds credibility.
It does. It shows that other people recognize your strengths too.
Okay, so we've tackled strengths.
We have.
Now on to the part that everyone dreads.
I know, right? Talking about weaknesses.
It can be a bit nerve-wracking.
How do you talk about your weaknesses without scaring off the interviewer?
Well, the key is to frame your weaknesses in a positive light.
Okay.
Instead of dwelling on the weakness itself, you want to focus on the fact that you're aware of it and that you're actively trying to improve. Oh, so it's about showing that you're committed to growth.
Exactly.
Okay, so what are some examples of weaknesses that people usually talk about?
Well, Diksha mentions things like time management procrastination, having trouble delegating tasks, or even being hesitant to ask for help.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with those things.
They are pretty common,
Yeah.
and that's okay. But what really matters is what you're doing to overcome those
Right.
weaknesses.
Okay, so you need a plan.
You need to have a specific example of how you're trying to improve.
Got it.
Diksha actually provides a really good example of how to do this.
Okay, what is it?
She says you could say something like this in the past. While I always met my deadlines, I noticed that I tended to procrastinate on bigger projects. This meant that I would end up working really long hours as the deadline approached.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
I realized that this wasn't the best way to work, so I decided to take a course on project management and time management techniques. Through this course, I learned how to break down big tasks into smaller, more manageable steps and how to prioritize my work. Now, I create detailed project plans as soon as I get a new assignment. And I've found that I not only meet deadlines more easily, but I often finish ahead of schedule.
Wow, that's impressive.
Right.
So it starts by acknowledging a real weakness, procrastination, but then it immediately goes into the solution, taking a course, learning new skills.
And the result is a positive outcome. Not just meeting deadlines, but exceeding them.
Right. It shows that you're proactive and committed to self-improvement.
And that's what interviewers are looking for.
They're not looking for perfect people. They're looking for people who are self-aware and who are always trying to get better.
Exactly.
So when you get asked about your strengths and weaknesses, remember, it's a chance to show off your self-awareness.
Right.
You can show that you know how your skills match up with the job, and you can show that you're dedicated to growth by highlighting the steps you've taken to improve your weaknesses.
It's about going beyond a simple answer and telling a story that shows your character and your potential.
This has been really helpful.
Yeah.
It makes that strengths and weaknesses question seem a lot less scary.
It's really an opportunity to shine.
Okay, so the takeaway here is to take some time to think about your strengths and weaknesses and do your research on the job. And when you're talking about areas where you need to improve, focus on the positive steps you've taken and the progress you've made.
And don't just think about this for job interviews.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking about your strengths and weaknesses can help you in all areas of your life.
Right.
It can help you grow as a person and find more fulfilling opportunities.
So take some time to think about those times when you faced a challenge and you took steps to overcome it. Those are the stories that will really make you stand out.
Those are the stories that matter.
Thanks for joining me for this deep dive.
It was my pleasure.
I hope this helps you nail your next interview.
Me too. Good luck out there.
And remember, keep diving deep.